Mr. Schlereth, welcome to DigiCon. During this trade show, indeed the subjects of collaboration, artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning are also important issues. To that, I think you have a lot to say, particularly as you have developed a software solution in this area. First question. It's often said that digitization means an increase in complexity and an increasing amount of data. In what way does more data help companies gain more insight?
Not at all. More data only creates confusion and is simply only a vast pool of more data. Data simply isn't information. Algorithms, artificial intelligence, entire processes which are built are actually only there to extract information from this infinite amount of data that is either digitally or manually entered. Initially, the gathering of data itself achieves nothing at all. Only by using algorithms can information be extracted and insight gained.
To what extent does this insight go? Or to what extent can this insight help companies?
Insight, or rather conclusions, ultimately have to move the management or the user. Algorithms can not only extract information out of this unending amount of data, they can also highlight certain information that the computer has itself calculated and can delineate problems. In our case, we create planning software for incidents that will emerge in the future, and the findings are that you simply can't design everything cleanly in the future, but rather only certain aspects that the software focuses on. At this point, a person is then required. The insight is that certain trends are read from this information. For instance, that the same thing has yet again gone wrong. That the management always throws in projects that in terms of capacity, the organization absolutely cannot accomplish. But gaining insight only comes through people themselves. The part of the software is to provide information to this end.
Here we come to the next point, Mr. Schlereth. It's often said that AI could reduce complexity. Could you give us one or two examples in this area that can help us understand?
A simple case is that, for example, the software works out from capacity data, that an employee is overburdened in the first quarter of a year. Therefore, the work, as it's planned out for him or her, can't be done. That is a mathematical model. Overburdened can mean an hour overburdened or a month. Hence, substantially different numbers. It depends on what the employee is overburdened with. Is the employee overburdened in a relatively unimportant project that won't draw a large invoice? Or is the employee overburdened in an extremely critical project that the management wants or that serves to fulfill legal requirements? AI can distinguish between the two. AI isn't just aware of the conditions, overburdened and not overburdened, but rather overburdened in projects that are important to the organization. Subsequently, AI can then make a suggestion. With an important project, it would in our case suggest immediate action. With a less important project, it would then be ignored. With AI, we imitate how people would also make a decision. The supervisor or the project manager then assesses whether it's important or is it less important, and then he or she acts accordingly.
Do you believe that such mathematical models, or rather these algorithms, could also help to effectively plan work aided by software, and therefore contribute towards reducing the skills shortage to which work can be distributed optimally?
Yes, the software naturally doesn't create any more skilled workers than already exist within a business. It's about more effectively utilizing existing skilled workers. So today, what a business simply shouldn't do is to use up its top people on some nonsense. By using planning software, AI and software respectively can also recognize and take priorities into account, and specifically utilize people in important projects rather than in unimportant ones. This indeed means that we can't create any new skilled workers. but we can reach a point where existing specialists are utilized much more effectively than today. A lack of skilled workers doesn't just mean that a company lacks a number of people, but rather it lacks people with relevant skills, with talent. And these required skills constantly change. Rather, they continually evolve. Particularly in the IT sector, the skill sets shift. And we know because of the strategic planning and systems which skills will be required in the future. We also know what skills people have today, and in software, we are aware of the connection to how an employee can further develop skills in a forward-thinking manner. This implies that companies can thereby prevent a skills shortage that occurs in 2 years' time. It's so complex and so multi-layered in the system. That's what a person can't really anticipate. For this, there are computer programs and algorithms like Can Do that can cut through all the number crunching. They then spit out the result. You shouldn't dispatch this employee to this project. Preferably, send him or her to the other project, because there they can learn something that we'll need in 2020. To achieve this, Can Do requires strong computing power and decided to use the highly scalable services and the vast computing power of Amazon Web Services.
And for this purpose of prioritization, you've developed a solution that makes exactly this sort of planning work easier? In this respect, is it important to gain an insight across all levels of the business in order to implement sensible strategic planning?
Yes, it's important that you see the entire plan across all levels of the business, from the management and the board who plan strategically, down to the employee who does the work, and who also needs to be aware of the priorities in order to avoid any issues. Naturally, they all interact with each other. The system concentrates on each employee level and, depending on role and function, provides the required information in simple apps. For the executive board, the employees, the project manager, the department manager, and gives suggestions through the AI what to focus on. For instance, where the employee should work more. So in the example of the employee, he or she has an iOS or an Android mobile app, like Can Do Hours, that apart from being used for smart time recording, shows all the tasks he or she has for today or the week. In the background, the important tasks are indicated in a light green color in order to avoid problems in the project plan. Naturally, the employee can't overlook this because by belatedly dealing with this job, the employee doesn't know if another task will be jeopardized next week by another colleague in another country. An employee can't overlook that. The software can, and it makes suggestions to avoid any further issues or delaying of the project.
Thank you very much. We wish you every success with this planning tool that can help people to work more efficiently. Thank you. The AI-based software for project and resource management from Can Do is now also operated as software as a service on the high-performance Amazon Web Services infrastructure. With the extended business model of Can Do, small and medium-sized companies around the globe can also test and buy the software on the AWS Marketplace. Try it for free now.